Hello everybody and welcome to my October roundup. So as always, I gathered all of the products I tried out over the month and I separated them into 3 categories. First being my favorites, then we're going to talk about my likes, and then we'll move on to my disappointments or the products I found unremarkable. So before we get into today's video, I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. I first want to mention the products I'm going to move forward to next month's roundup just because I only used them once or twice. So first being the NARS Power Matte lipsticks. I've tried these a few times, but I've never worn them for a long period of time, so I don't know how they wear, so I don't feel comfortable giving my final review on these yet. Same goes for the Laura Mercier Petal Soft lipstick crayons. I've only used these once in my recent new makeup video, and I have 2 products from my Merit video that I kind of forgot to try out over the month. So being the mascara and the highlighter, and the last product is the Empowered palette from Huda Beauty. Just because I've used this 3 times. I wasn't sure the first time around. I really loved my second look I made with this palette, and then I despised the third look I created with it, which I think was my fault. Just like the way I planned out the look made no sense, so it just turned out terrible. So I need to have a few more positive or a few more negative experiences with this before giving you the final go. But today I kind of feel like starting off with my least favorites and then moving on to my favorites, just to switch things up a little bit. I want to start off a little sassy today, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch up the order that we're going to go in today. I'm going to start off with my disappointments. So first being the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. I wanted to love this stuff so much. I've seen so many positive reviews online, mostly over TikTok, which can be questionable. I just really did not jive with this foundation in the slightest. I find that it feels quite mask-like, and when I look at my skin today, this is the foundation I'm wearing, I just feel like my skin is lacking dimension and depth, and I feel like it doesn't do a great job at correcting my skin either. And I find it quite difficult to work with. The texture seems like it'll be really fun to work with. It has like a thicker gel serumy texture, but I find it's very difficult to apply it to your face. You really have to work it in and buff it in. When I try to get a lighter application of this, I feel like it just exaggerates the texture everywhere, and it doesn't do a great job at camouflaging any imperfections. So I feel like I always have to use quite a bit of this to get an even application. And then once I get there, I feel like it feels slightly cakey-like. I just never like the way my skin looks. Like, I feel like my skin looks dull. Like, it really dulls out my skin. So this is a foundation I know I'm going to completely stop using. I am really not a fan of it. And same goes for the setting powder. I used 2 different ones on my face today. This is the side I'm wearing, Haus Labs, and I used it under this eye and it looks completely trash. I just really dislike this powder. It feels like it does a good job at setting your face right when you apply it, but then your makeup acts like you've never set it, and it just looks really cakey and texture enhancing once again. It just does not do a good job on my oilier skin. When I set it in the center, it doesn't do anything for me. It just makes things worse. So sadly, this is another product I will cease use of. Now let's talk about the Glowish by Huda Beauty Blur Gem Silicone Free Smoothing Primer. Now, I had lots of hopes for this. I felt like it was going to be similar to the Impossible Primer from Wet n Wild, which I would recommend so much more over this product. I find that this one doesn't do much of anything for me. I don't see much of a difference when I wear this to when I don't with foundations. I feel like it's just like an extra step that just disappears. It's just extra money for no reason. It just doesn't offer me any smoothing. It doesn't really blur my skin. And I feel like it makes my foundations kind of slip and slide wherever I apply this. It's weird, I don't know, but it just does not work for me. Moving on to the Merit, the Minimalist Perfecting Complexion Stick. Now, I wanted to love this product so much. I thought it was going to fit into my makeup life perfectly. I love products like this for spot correcting purposes, but I would recommend the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer or the Clé de Peau Concealer tenfold over this one. I find that this one doesn't have enough coverage to spot correct, and it also exaggerates the look of spots. I did use this as my under eye concealer today, and it is the best it's looked, but still it does not beat any of my other favorite concealers. I feel like this just is texture enhancing. It doesn't wear the best, and I just overall am disappointed in this product. And I do have an oilier complexion, like I say all the time, but it still enhanced my texture quite a bit, and I do not appreciate that. Moving on to a highlighter I really did not enjoy. This is the Item Beauty Hey Hi Hey Low. highlighter. It feels like such a promising texture. It feels very gel-like, it feels really hydrating, but once it hits your skin, it just like dries up and it just is really hard to move. I applied it with a damp beauty blender today, which I thought would help to maneuver that product around, but same thing, it just kind of sticks to one spot and I feel like it doesn't look the most flattering. It's too bad because the actual finish of this highlighter is beautiful. It's very sheer, it has like no visible pearls, it's not glittery. It seems like it would be a perfect fit, but it just is hard to maneuver around your face and it just does not look the most flattering. And my last disappointment is a major disappointment, and that is the Patrick Ta Major Headlines Blush Palette Volume 2. This one definitely hurts because I am such a fan of all of their duos, whether it's the foundation, the blushes of course, and the bronzer and contour, but this palette truly missed the mark. It has a metallic sheen and the pigmentation isn't there like the other blush duos, and this highlighter is just terrible. If you like the same kind of highlighters as me, you would detest this one here. It's super glittery, it's very texture enhancing, it just looks, I don't know, I feel like it would look really good as an eyeshadow topper. So maybe with that description you can get the vibe that it's just not meant to highlight your cheeks. Every which way, it's a disappointment for me. Makes me sad. No, oh, who's this? Hello? Hello? Oh my god. No, I probably just subscribed myself to every spam call. That was kind of scary. I answered the phone and all I heard was a big bzzzt. So that's upsetting. Now let's talk about the products I liked. So first starting off with this About Face 1994 mascara. I'm wearing it on this eye right here. I think the effect is really nice. I just like another mascara a bit more, which I'll talk about in a bit here. And I find that this one has a little bit of a transferring problem. As you can see, I'm wearing it on my lower lashes so you can really see the action. I've only been wearing this for maybe 2 hours and you can see it's already giving me a little dark spot under my eye right there. Hopefully you can see it. I really enjoy how lengthening and volumizing and separating this one is, but I feel like it's not the most special mascara in my collection. I've tried a lot of other ones that felt like this one and they come and go, but I don't ever feel like I want to repurchase them. I enjoy their presence one time and one time only. And I feel like that's going to be my experience with this one. It's good on the top lashes, it doesn't flake, but if your top lashes ever touch your top lid, I feel like you're going to encounter some transferring problems. It's not one that I will ever use again on my lower lashes. Now let's talk about the Laura Mercier products I tried. So first, starting off with the Blush Color Infusion blushes. So I have 3 shades. My most used one is the shade All That Sparkles, which is kind of like a pinky nude shade. I feel like these don't swatch on the back of my hand that well. Well, maybe you can see it a little bit when I go like that. See, it's just like a nice nudie shade. These heavily remind me of the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow blushes, the powder blushes, just because it's that perfect mix of a highlighter and a blush in one, and they're very flattering. You can't really tell that they're pearly in the pan, which is my favorite thing, but they do illuminate your cheeks so much and they add a lot of dimension. My second favorite shade is Peach Shimmer right here. So you can see it's a bit more on the orangey side for peach. And then another one that I find really pretty is Very Berry, which I have been growing on these berry toned blushes. I think they're so pretty and will be so cute in the winter time for that kind of cold cheek look. But yeah, I find these to be very beautiful. There's just a little something missing. I don't get that spark of excitement towards these products. They're often forgotten by me, which is kind of sad, but I feel like they're going to be products that grow on me over time, but I have enjoyed their presence and I do really like them. The other Laura Mercier product I was trialing over the month is the Translucent Loose Setting Powder, the Ultra Blur version. Now, I enjoy this product on my face, not so much under my eye, but I do like the way it looks compared to the Haus Labs one under my eye. I feel like it's holding up the Merit complexion stick quite a bit more under here. That is so unflattering, but you can really see there's a lot less creasing happening. Can you see it? That is a terrifying face. I find that the effect lasts a lot longer and it actually sets my skin and makes my makeup stay a lot longer. You can even see almost like a line where I set my face with the House Labs and the Laura Mercier. You can see that this one looks a lot more textured, whereas this side looks a lot more blurred and still fresher. This side looks like it's quickly going downhill. And it's not weird for me to use a different powder under my eyes and a different one to set my face. I do that quite often. I think this will fit into my life quite well. I just put this into my liked section just because I haven't tried it with all of my go-to foundations as of yet. So I feel like there is a chance for it to go downhill, or maybe it will skyrocket to one of my favorites. But so far, I've really liked my experience with it. And I never was a fan of the original Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I found it to be a little heavy. This one does not feel like you're wearing a powder in the slightest. It doesn't like suck the living heck out of your skin. It doesn't dull out your skin either. Like, you still can have some dimension going. It overall just feels quite comfortable for a setting powder. Now let's chat about these Makeup Forever lipsticks. These are the Rouge Artist Forever Mattes. So these are liquid lipsticks, and I'm not much of a liquid lipstick wearer anymore just because I find that they can make my lips feel claustrophobic or they really enhance the texture and the lip lines of my lips, whereas these ones don't. They have an interesting texture to them. It's almost like they're infused with a powder feel. They feel really soft and silky once they're set on your lips, and they do offer quite a bit of blur. I also really enjoy the color range that they came out with. I have three favorites right here: Chili for Life, Rose Now and Always, and Immortal Rosewood. That is written so small on there. I feel like I needed to get laser eye surgery to be able to read that, or I need to get like one of those monocles. I forget. So overall, I find these to be unique and I really enjoy them, but I put them into my likes because I find myself altering them on my own, whether I add a balm underneath or a gloss on top just to make them kind of fit my personal preference. I'm much more into like a glossy lip these days. So that's why I put them into here. But if you love matte liquid lipsticks and you love how they're transfer proof, I think that these are worth checking out. I think the colors are beautiful, the packaging's really fun, and I just like that silky texture that they offer. And the last product in my liked section are the Tower 28 multi-liners. So they only came out with 3 shades, which I wish they came out with more, but I do get good use out of all of the colors they did bring out. I'm wearing the shade Fill Me In on my lips today. The one I use the most often is Work of Art. Here are the 3 Tower 28 lip liner shades. Actually, these aren't just lip liners. You can use them on your eyes or wherever you want to apply them. This one right here is Work of Art. The middle one is Fill Me In, and the brown is Draw Me. So they have a really nice formula. I like how they're in wooden pencils, so they do have like that classic texture. They feel quite nostalgic for something so new. They're pretty creamy, but they also have a matte texture, so they glide on quite easily. They do feel like a mixture of the MAC lip liners or the Makeup Forever artist pencils. So if you like those, I think you would really enjoy this formula as well. I just am praying that they bring out more colors because this formula is really good. And they do have great longevity, whether you're wearing them on your eyes or around your lips. That's the only areas I've put them. I mean, I'm not going to use one as a blush or anything. That would take a lot of work. But yeah, I enjoy them. This is kind of fun to be able to finish a roundup video on a positive note, a very positive note, because I have found some really good favorites this month. So first, starting off with the Tower 28 Makewaves mascara. This has been not only a favorite of the month, but I think of the year. I've been so in love with this mascara. It's the only one I think about on the daily, and I love it so much because it acts like all of my favorite mascaras in one. I find that it makes my lashes look really fluttery, separated, volumized, and lengthened, but it keeps the curl of my lashes and it wears well on my lower lashes as well. It doesn't smudge, flake, or do anything like that. It just is a miracle mascara. It acts similarly to a tubing mascara and kind of like the Rare Beauty mascara, but mixed. It's magic, and I've loved it so much. It's truly made such an impact in my life. Let's chat about this Skin System from Iconic London. It is quite iconic. I'm going to start by talking about the Underglow Blurring Primer, of course. Now, you know, I'm not a primer person. I don't really use them on the everyday, but I've loved this one so much. I feel like I've made quite the significant dent in it only to have had it for a month. I just love it. At first I wasn't sure. It does smell a little bit like a glue stick, but I got over that quite quickly. It's illuminating, but it's also blurring. So I like to apply this all over my skin and it makes you look like a dewy goddess, but then I like to let it set down a little bit and then the blur action kicks in, but it still adds a glow to your skin, which usually doesn't really make sense for like a glowy product and a blurring product. Usually those products don't really mix or it's not very effective, but somehow they figured it out. And it also makes my makeup stay a long time as well. But this paired with the super smoother blurring skin tint is incredible. It does work quite well with all the other foundations I've used it with so far, but of course this is the best suited match. The super smoother blurring skin tint. I know I made a bold claim in my Sephora VIB recommendations video, and I said that I think I might enjoy this more than the Fenty Ease Drops, and I think I do, just because it's super similar to those, but it has a thinner consistency and I feel like it blurs a lot more as well. And I like how this one is buildable too. This product makes me so excited to do my makeup on the daily. I've been pretty much solely using this unless if I'm reviewing something else. But if I'm just doing my makeup on my own, going about my day, I always reach for this one. And the effect doesn't just last a couple hours, it lasts all day for me. It wears incredibly well. It just looks really beautiful. It adds a lot of dimension to my skin. I wish I went in with this one today instead of this because I still, every time I look at my skin, I feel like there's just something missing. It looks very blank in the center of my face, but this one is so flattering. It's made me so happy. I can't get that point across enough, I don't think. It's time to talk about what's on my eyes, and that is the beautiful Kaleidos Night of Creation collection. I haven't been taken aback by an eye collection in so long. There's just something so special about this one to me. I'll start off by talking about the eyeliners. So these are similar to like the Danessa Myricks chromatic eyeliners, but I enjoy this formula a little bit more, and I enjoy how the pencil is a bit thicker. So what I like to do is break off a little chunk into the palm of my hand, and then I like to kind of smoosh it to get it to my body temperature. And then I like to take a detail brush to create these fun little lines all over my eye looks, and they look like liquid metal, and they just add a lot of interest and some wearable color to your looks. And of course they're very hypnotizing because they have those super intense shifts. So they've just been really fun to experiment with, and they always transform a very boring look to a very interesting look. But what makes this collection so special to me are for sure the eyeshadow palettes. I haven't been this in love with eyeshadows in so long. Specifically, this Glowing Iris palette is so unique and beautiful to me. These colors draw me in so much. Same goes for the Flowing Haze, but I find that I always incorporate this quad with this quad. I've never really used the Flowing Haze one on its own, but I find that their eyeshadow formula is so unique because it is so insanely pigmented, very creamy, but they're also really easy to work with, which makes me question what kind of magic they threw into here. But I've always made some really amazing, long-wearing, beautiful eye looks with this. My favorite thing about these eyeshadows is that they build on top of one another incredibly well. You can add like the lightest shade and build up to the darkest one without it getting patchy or your eyeshadow look starting to resist the darker colors. You can layer anything you want on top of them. It just is incredibly easy to work with them. I think everyone would really enjoy their formula. If you're not drawn to these eyeshadows, but I enticed you with the formula itself, this formula is very similar to all of the other eyeshadows I've tried from Kaleidos. They've nailed it. They've truly nailed their eyeshadow formula. And the last product for today's video is the Saie Lip Blur Lipstick in the shade Dada. And you know what I want to say so badly, but I'm going to refrain from overusing my jokes. So I saw someone describe this lip formula perfectly. Someone described it as like a movie lip. So it adds like the perfect little tint to your lips if you just tap a little bit of it on. And that's what I did right here. I really smooshed it out. So you can see how it adds like a nice tint that's kind of matte, so it just makes it look like your natural lip color. I have really fallen in love with this lipstick formula. I actually purchased 2 more today. I wanted to do a full face of Saie, so keep tuned for that. But this is a really nice formula. It feels kind of similar to the Rare Beauty Kind Words matte lipsticks, just because it has that lightweight moussey texture, but it still is matte in finish. It's super glidey, it's very comfortable, and they wear a long time. And I'm really excited to expand my collection in these because I think these are going to become super favorites of mine. It took me a while to fall in love with this formula. I purchased this lipstick back in September and I kind of had forgotten about it, but over October it had quickly really become a favorite of mine. My favorite way to apply it is just dabbing on a little bit of it just so that it does add that tint, and it's just so cute and flattering. But yes, love this lipstick. And that wraps up my October roundup. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful. If you did, please give this video a like, and I'll of course list and link all of the products I talked about in today's video in the description down below, so feel free to check that out, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!